It is inevitable that one day all great rulers will eventually fall. Too often, these rulers let this power get to their heads. They become arrogant, overconfident, and cocky. Ozymandias let his hubris, or excessive pride, consume him. He thought that his legacy would last indefinitely, but now we only remember him as someone whose mighty empire fell. Ozymandias is an allusion to Ramses II, an Egyptian king from the 13th century BC.
Some of you may remember Ramses II from the Bible. In the famous story of the parting of the Red Sea, Moses tries to save his people from Ramses II. However, as Ramses II tries to cross, the sea closes, killing him.
In this poem, a traveler is describing the ruins that he or she saw of Ozymandias' fallen empire. Ozymandias, or Ramses II, was a powerful ruler of ancient Egypt who believed that his great empire would survive indefinitely. However, as the speaker describes, nothing remains except for a decayed statue of Ozymandias among a vast and bare desert.
Before we read the poem, it's important to know the meaning of the word visage as it relates in this context. Visage, a person's face.
We will now begin our reading of Ozymandias by Percy Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said,
Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive. Stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear.
My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair.
Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
The speaker is someone who is speaking in the present day and met a traveler. He then goes on to quote what the traveler said to him regarding the ruins of Ozymandias' statue and empire.
The audience is everyone listening to the speaker, more specifically those with power and authority who can relate to Ozymandias and be warned by his fate.
This poem was written in iambic pentameter. It's a modified sonnet. The first half is Shakespearean and the second half is Petrarchan. This demonstrates that the details of form are everything, especially for such a talented poet as Shelley.
The tone of the poem is cautious and forewarning. It is established through the vivid imagery of the ruins of Ozymandias' once great empire. The traveler describes the half-sunk, shattered visage that lies near the statue, which makes the reader wonder about his or her own fate.
The words on Ozymandias' pedestal, telling all of their mighty rulers to despair, establishes the forewarning tone about the fact that it is inevitable that one day their great empire will fall. The poem uses the example of Ozymandias' once great but now decayed empire as a warning that seemingly indefinite power will in fact not last.
I met a traveler from an antique land who said,
The way the poem is presented by the speaker creates a very indirect link to Ozymandias. Instead of hearing about the ruins firsthand, the audience is told of them by a speaker who hears of them from a traveler. This demonstrates that Ozymandias has not left a very significant and distinguishing legacy.
Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor, well those passions read, which yet survived, stamped on these lifeless things.
Ozymandias' frown, wrinkled lip, and sneer of cold command illustrate that he wasn't a very well-liked or respected ruler. The emotions of Ozymandias are stamped on the statue. His ideas and character were well understood by the sculptor, who has portrayed them permanently in his sculpture of Ozymandias. The head of the statue is shattered and permanently buried in the sand. The visage is a synecdoche because it stands in for the statue's head.
The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed.
The hand that mocked is a synecdoche referencing the sculptor. The hand stands for a part of the whole, the sculptor. Although Ozymandias wasn't well liked by his people, he took care of them, as demonstrated by the heart that fed.
And on the pedestal these words appeared. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty in despair.
In this poem, the word despair is especially significant. It is quoted by Ozymandias on this pedestal and holds a double meaning. Not only is it used by Ozymandias to tell others to despair that they will ever have a kingdom as great as his, but it also affects the modern day viewer and that he too should despair that he will escape the fall from power and greatness.
Irony is used in the inscription on the pedestal. It is ironic because although Ozymandias thought he and his empire were great and above all others, they both eventually fell to ruins.
The inscription on the pedestal is an example of Ozymandias' hubris. He had so much pride about his reign and authority, yet he was ignorant of the reality that his empire could not endure forever.
Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
This poem contains a shift. At first, the speaker begins describing his encounter with a traveler, and then the poem shifts to quoting exactly what the traveler saw when he visited the fallen empire in Egypt. Furthermore, the poem begins by describing the ruins of Ozymandias' empire and statue, but it comes to encompass the reader, ye mighty, or another powerful person, by warning them that their great empire will eventually fall like Ozymandias' did.
This poem contains enjambed lines. The one long sentence at the beginning, followed by several short sentences at the end, enhances the fact that Ozymandias' empire is now merely rubble surrounded by barren land. The lengthier sentence encompasses all that Ozymandias hoped his empire would be, enduring and long-lasting, while the shorter sentences bring readers back to the reality of his shattered reign and broken empire.
These vivid images illustrate Ozymandias' colossal demise and the inevitable fate of other great rulers. No political leader, especially a tyrant, can expect to have long-lasting power and real influence. The image created in readers' minds of the now vast and empty desert helped them to comprehend how great Ozymandias' fall from power was.
Modern-day society can learn much from Ozymandias and his ruined empire. The poem features several romantic characteristics, one of which is the humble life. This poem encourages people to be humble and not get overconfident and cocky. Things or people may seem large and important at first, but over time they become less significant. Now, Ozymandias is a decayed statue in an empty desert. It serves as a warning that all powerful people will eventually fall, partly because they can't help but let the power get to their head. Hubris, or excessive pride, will additionally lead to ruin, as seen with Ozymandias.
Other romantic characteristics in the poem include nature, as seen in the deserts and ruins of ancient Egypt, and feelings, because the poem instills a sense of fear and caution into readers by warning them of their inevitable fall from power. Additionally, the poem ends on a mysterious and melancholy note with the image of a barren desert, leaving readers to ponder their own fates and futures. Readers may feel reflective of their own lives, especially regarding their pride and self-worth. The last romantic characteristic is the past, because the poem focuses on the fallen empire of Ozymandias.
Percy Shelley was an English epic poet of the 19th century. He was best known for his classic anthology verse works and long-form poetry. Shelley also began writing political pamphlets, which he distributed by way of hot air balloon, glass bottles, and paper boats. In his day, he was considered too radical in his poetry and political views. He was a dedicated vegetarian and atheist. He also liked to engage in three ways.
Meh.
P.B. Shelley drowned in a sudden storm when sailing in Italy.
The theme of this poem is that it is inevitable that one day all great rulers and their kingdoms will fall. It is valuable to minimize excessive pride, overconfidence, and arrogance. The poem Ozymandias reminds us that nothing can withstand the test of time.